again, everyone. So I got my strings, my string choices from Illustring to replace the white strings on my Tiffany B6 Slim Chic Sparrow. And I realized that I've never shown how I replace elastics. So I figured I would choose the color with you and show you how I do that. It's pretty much the standard way to do it. It's not, I did not invent this, and it's pretty easy though. And I think a lot of people are a little bit afraid of it, and I was a little afraid of it before I actually replaced my elastics, but it's actually a really easy process, and I'll just show you how I do it. I don't actually measure separately. I measure based on the strings that are already attached to the notebook, because I'm generally not replacing a blank notebook without strings that are already there. So I'll just show you how I do it. But this is basically everything you need. You need your notebook, you need the string that you're going to use, and some scissors and a lighter. The lighter is I use that to burn the ends so that they don't unravel. But I'll go ahead and put these off to the side. And first I have to decide which of these I am going to use for this particular notebook. So I had this little piece in my stash, and I think, first off, I don't think I have enough. And I also think that it's a little too blue, and you can't even really tell. I mean, it almost looks white on the video here, but it is very light blue. And I think that was too blue. None of these are a perfect match. And I'm not sure I would be able to find a perfect match, because this is kind of an interesting color. So this one here, this was just clearly way off the mark. That's way too green. So that's out of the question too. So it's kind of really down to these two. And these are both sort of in a light pastel-y teal. I could go a little bit more green with this one. I kind of generally like to see what it looks like. I try to hide the existing one because that might interfere with my analysis there. So I could go with this one, and that actually looks very nice. That's a lighter green, which I don't even know if you'll be able to see it if I get closer to you. Okay, maybe that's the best. So that might look okay. And then there is the possibility of this one. This one is a little bit bluer, and I think I'm leaning towards this one. Although I don't know. Now, and this one is a little thinner. I think this is 1.5 millimeter, whereas this is 2 millimeter. I think the 1.5 is fine. It's a little thin, but I think it'll suffice. This one, like I said, is a little thicker and will also be fine. This is probably more like what is already on there as far as thickness goes. I couldn't find the 2.0 in this one, and I think what these colors are, let's see. So I purchased Lichen, Sea Mist, and Hint of Mint. I think that this one is Hint of Mint. This one, I believe, is Sea Mist, and I think that this one is Lichen, but I could have those reversed. But it's kind of difficult to tell. This is my one complaint about Illustring. I generally have a great experience with them. They ship really fast. They have a ton of offerings and color choices. My only complaint is sometimes the colors as they show up on the screen are a little bit different than they look in real life. So it's kind of hard sometimes if you're trying to match a TN to decide which string to use. So I just have to decide if I want to go a little bit greener or a little bit bluer. And initially I was thinking a little bit bluer. Okay, let me get that out of the picture and see. So that looks pretty nice. But I'm actually thinking that the green complements it a little bit better. Yeah, I really do. Okay, so let's go ahead and go with this one then. And I'm going to replace, well, I don't know, maybe I'm changing my mind again. It's so difficult. Let me see from the inside perspective. Yeah, I think maybe the bluer one, because this one is a little bit more contrast than this one. And for you, it's really hard for you to tell. Okay, so I am going to go with the lighter weight, bluer color. And you can kind of see it better when it's all smushed up like that. Because yeah, when I was seeing it all smushed up in the green, it looked just a little too green for me. And this is obviously a little bit more blue, but I think it's close enough. So I'm just going to go with my first choice initially. So they always come with this little band. You could leave it on. I generally don't. And then I kind of end up with a giant tangle of this stuff. But it doesn't get tangled very easily, which is nice, like yarn or something like that would be. So, okay, so I took that off. I am going to take the strings off of this. So basically I just pull that out and then I untie here and then just take it out like that. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside for a second because what I'm going to do, so what I do is I take the strings out and then I just measure based on the strings that are already in there. That to me is easier than actually trying to measure, because like you could measure 4 times the length of the spine. Sometimes that makes it so that you end up with a little too much. So there's that one, and then I also measure it against this one. I usually don't even untie that, and I go a little bit higher because the tie takes up some length, and then I just go like that, give a little extra length on both sides, and cut it there. So it's not an exact science, but I think that it gets close enough. Now before I try to restring, I am going to get these old strings out of the way here, and then for both ends of both strings that I'm going to use, I am going to just lightly put the flame up to that, and that will prevent it from unraveling. And I'm going to do the same here. And I think this is probably the most lightweight string that I've ever used on a TN. Okay, and it does get kind of hot afterwards. I have sort of asbestos hands, as they say, for some things, but to the extent I can, I kind of like to crimp it after I heat it up, just so that because sometimes it'll flare out a little bit, and with the smaller string it's not as big of an issue, but it's just sort of force of habit. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same to these. It's really just, sort of like a pass once or twice on each, and that just, because it's partially plastic, it just burns the end, and then you don't have to worry about that. And you're done with your lighter. You don't need that anymore. So I am going to tie this together. Yeah, I'll be really interested to see how this works because it is thinner. I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay, so I have this already. I usually put this one in last, but sometimes I'll put it in first. So let's just go ahead and put this one in first. So what I'm going to do is the tip of it, I kind of bend it over like that, and then I just put it through. Voila, and now I have a new band. Let's go ahead and preview that there, just to make sure. It's a little loose, but once things are in it, I think that it will be the right tautness. And I do like this color on there much better than the white. So I think we're doing good. All right, so I could tie it a little tighter in here, but that's fine. And you can see where I burned these, they have darkened a little bit. You're going to notice this more on the lighter color of elastic. It doesn't really bother me, but if that bothers you, you could make sure that you just put the flame on the very, very tip, and you'll have less discoloring. I kind of went and, like put the flame over like that. And it didn't seem to happen as much on these. So for this, what I generally do, so I'm going to have the tie in the middle. So I put this roughly there, and then I am going to thread through the middle on the top, and then I go back through that hole. At this point it's kind of like weaving, and then I'm going to go through the bottom hole and then back through the middle, and I may adjust these a little bit when I have it all strung up to see how it goes. And then again, with the smaller one, it's not a problem to go back into the middle one. So that's going to be a doubled up hole. And with the older Chic Sparrows, I think they, and then go back into this hole. They, I don't think they had a bigger hole for the middle hole. And I've actually tried to restring some older Chic Sparrows. By older, I mean like several years. And it was a little bit difficult because that hole, they've now made this middle hole a little bit bigger than the others because it's double strung all the time. But like I said, for the earlier ones, it was about the same size, and it was really hard for me to restring some of the old ones. Okay, and then I usually just do sort of a double knot here. They do the same kind of knot as this sometimes, or they'll do a square knot, but this seems to just be, oops, a little slippery there. I think this is the kind of knot they do actually. And then I do try to get it a little tight. You're going to have a little bit of play just because you want to have some room for your inserts to be in there. And now that I have this in here, I think this is actually a really good choice as far as the color. Oh, okay, this might be something that happens to you, and I can show you how to correct that. So basically, I put one string underneath this other one, which is a mistake. So I'm just going to untie. No mistake is unfixable. And then make sure I don't loop around that again. And I also think I had it a little loose, so I'm going to tighten it a little bit more. Okay, so there you go. I'm not going to put anything in it just now, just because I don't have anything lined up just yet. But that's how it goes. And if you find that you have a little bit of extra, you can always trim it off and then burn the end again. I'm fine having this little bit of extra because if I do want to make it a little looser to accommodate notebooks that are maybe a little bit bigger. If you have a notebook that goes all the way to the edge, it's going to be pulling, so I kind of like to leave it loose. My Jabun Techo does seem to go a little bit higher than where the holes are, so that's kind of one of the reasons why I like to have that extra play. And let's see what we've got here. See, now that to me, that looks so much better. And to you on the camera, it probably looks almost identical because you can't tell the difference between the white and this color, but I certainly can, and I think this is so much better. I like things to coordinate a little bit better. Now, if I could find an elastic that's the same color as this stitching, now that would be perfect. I might end up changing this out again later, but this is just what I purchased, and I want to use what I purchased. And like I said, this is the smaller elastic. It's the 1.5. The Illustring also is quite a bit more elastic. And I like that because it's a little more gentle on my inserts. But this one's not bad. It's just a little bit, it has a little less give. This is the one that came with it. And I also have a, I finally found the right color for my Moroccan pink, which is Austin Rose. I wanted to share that with you as well. If you have a Moroccan pink and you are looking for the right match color-wise, I do believe it's the Austin Rose. I have it off to the side here. I'm not going to be restringing it on the channel just because I just wanted to show you one today. But this Austin Rose is pretty much a perfect match for this leather. I've been searching for the right pink forever, and I finally found it. And I'm hoping my 5 yards will be enough for for both my B6 Slim and my A5, but we'll find out. But I'm not going to find that out on the channel. All right, so I just wanted to let you know that in case you had that color and were looking for the string color, because I was looking forever. All right, well, there you go. Just a quick and easy way to replace your strings. Like I said, this is nothing earth-shattering or new. I'm just showing you my method of doing it, which is basically just measuring it off of the existing strings, which I find easier. I don't have to do any fiddling or measuring, and it's pretty quick. All right, well, that's it for today. Feel free to subscribe so you can keep track of future videos, and I hope to see you in my next one. All right, take care. Bye.